Been a funny week, hasn't it? 3 defeats. All this talk and gloom, Danny Rose, Southampton. And then on the horizon, a tricky away game against Plymouth, A place where we hadn't travelled very well to in recent years. And obviously they've got a new manager in since January. He's had 10 or 12 games in there, and they've picked up some points. I think unbeaten in 3 at home. So all in all, there was a little bit of tension, I think, going into the game. Adding to that mix, our injury crisis and inability to really strengthen properly in January. I think there was a little bit of gloom going into the game. As it is, some very positive news when the teams were announced. And the positive news was Max Lowe and Callum Patterson, who both limped from the last match, were fit to play, so that was a real bonus for us when the starting team was announced. And a return for Dominic Iorford as well, who struggled through the season with injuries himself. So a real boost for us there to have a bit more strength in that back line. Wednesday went with a 4-2-3-1 with Beadle in goal, Iorfa, Ehekwe, Lowe and Hatsusi at the back, Charles and Bannon in midfield, and Gassama, Windass and Svante Ingelsson supporting Callum Patterson at centre forward. A real boost there to have those players back, and I was looking at that and I thought that's a stronger lineup as we can put out at the moment. I was really pleased to see that, and that gave me a little bit more confidence going into the game, because as I said, bit of a gloomy week for everybody overall, I think, and a tough game in prospect. And Plymouth didn't disappoint. Good atmosphere at the start of the game, and they came flying out at traps trying to catch Wednesday cold. And to be fair, they did catch us cold. They've got 2 shots away probably the first 2 minutes. The lad Bundu got down left hand side. There was a lot of space out there. Managed to come inside and curl a shot which had Beadle scrambling, and he palmed that away. Another lad told one just wide at post. He should have, probably tested him again there. And they put 2 or 3 really good early crosses in. This is all in a sort of first 4 to 5 minutes opening spell, and the caught us cold. There was a moment the left back got away. I think it was Charles came over and sort of shouldered him, and it looked like he was going out for the goal kick. But brilliant play from left back. It goes back to that old adage that when you're trying to teach kids, never give up on anything, and he didn't. He managed to somehow get his foot round it. Fantastic ball across our box, sort of fizzed across 6-yard line, and they'll be gutted. Nobody had gambled on it. They'll, like a lot of us, they probably thought, oh, it's gone out for a goal kick. That nobody's gambled, and that comes back to another old adage: wait for the whistle. Brilliant cross, great opportunity for them. And Wednesday at that stage, I'm not saying we were at 6s and 7s, but we had been caught on up, and there was a little bit of that thing where you were just, let's just calm it down Wednesday and get a little bit of shape back and just, work our way into the game. I would say from 10-15 minutes, Wednesday did start to get into the game, and we played some good possession football. It's going to sound daft because it was a scrappy game. It was a game where we were having to challenge for ball, and first ball, second ball, with lots of tackles going in and headers and charging about and closing people down. So it's scrappy, but what that did do is Wednesday fought for the right to be able to play football, and you've got to do that. You can't just turn up and think you're going to knock it about. And it was a really good battling display from Wednesday, which, like I said, started from about 10 minutes onwards. We had a really good spell at possession at ball. And I'm old-fashioned, I'm a dinosaur, and I like direct football, get ball in, mix it and whatever. And possession football, over the last 10 years or so, not just watching Wednesday, I mean football in general, I can find it quite tiresome. And the reason I can find it tiresome is because everybody does it, but not everybody can do it. And even watching England over the years, I'm never so nervous as when we've had possession of the ball, even going back to sort of Sven Eriksson, because there was a rigidity to us having possession of the ball, left, right, across the back four, into midfield and then back, and it's all like possession for possession's sake, and that's what I'm not a fan of. That's why I like direct football, obviously. But my first team were Howard Wilkinson, so probably there's a little bit of that in my psyche somewhere, and that's why I like direct football. I don't like this knocking it about with no method or rhyme or reason. But the way Wednesday are playing football, when they've got possession of it, I am enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it because you can see there's a method, there's a plan to it. We're trying to draw people in, and what Wednesday do that so many teams don't do, and like I said, especially them England teams I've seen over the years, is possession's no use if you haven't got good movement, and we've had fantastic movement. And even though it's a scrappy game, so this is going to sound like a bit of a paradox to what I'm saying, the movement was so good that, you'd look and sometimes it'd be a back three, Charles would drop in and both fullbacks would push on. Traditionally one fullback goes, the other one comes round and covers. But when he drops in there, it allows them both to go. But then we're seeing centre forwards popping up and receiving ball, in a sort of fullback position off a goalkeeper and this. And we're pulling people all over the place. And that can buy into, if you like. That I do enjoy seeing, that fluid movement. And that's what we've seen since Danny's come in and over the time being able to implement them methods into the team. And it's really quite slick at times, and I do enjoy it. And Wednesday did that, but they were only able to do that because they did that other side of the game. This is what I'm talking about, it being scrappy as well. Lots of first balls, lots of headers in midfield, lots of tackles getting ratted about in there. And I would probably sum it up this way, is if I look at a player like Barry Bannon, who our best player, technically probably of the last 10 years or so. Usually you think about Barry Bannon, very good in tight situations, he can get out of trouble, can beat a man, and he's always got his head up, and then he'll look and he'll spray that, that 30-yard pass that he send somebody away and get everybody on edge of the seat. He weren't particularly being able to do that today because Plymouth were defending deep in numbers. It was very tight in there, and he was having to do that ugly side of the game. He was having to rat in there, and do a job that Will Volts has done for us over recent years, or Luongo did that sort of rat in it and give and go. And Barry Bannon today is just knocking 3, 4, 5-yard passes, because it was tight and congested, and you hadn't really got the room to open it up and spread it around. And I think that was that highlighted the game as a whole. That you're probably your most creative players in there and having to do that sort of ratting job like everyone else is doing, but did it brilliantly, and showed another side to his game really. I'm banging on here. I'm not actually talking about match action, am I? Which is what I'm meant to be doing. But anyway, during this good spell of pressure where Wednesday's working hard and then using the ball well when they've got it, and sort of with their possession trying to calm things down and create opportunities at the same time, Wednesday get that early goal. It's a break down the left-hand side. Ingleson gets away. A little bit lucky with a bounce, bit of a fortuitous bounce in our favour, but really calm. And we talked about this last week with the cross that he put in for Callum Patterson. I think most people are expecting a whipped cross in there, or one fizzed in low and hard. But he didn't. He just got his head up and he just flipped one up for him, didn't he? Similar today again, the ball bounces to him, controls it on knee, and then just dinks aloft at him with outside at boot. Really calm and measured in a 100-mile-an-hour game. Brilliant bit of skill from Ingleson. Gassama comes in. Now they've awarded it down as an own goal, which is twofold, because A, it takes the goal away from Gassama, which he would have scored, and 2, it doesn't go down as an assist for Ingleson, which I don't get that. I think it should, even if it's an own goal. It's still an assist, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I still think he should get an assist for that. Lovely, calm bit of play from him. Gassama's in. he would have scored anyway. That because of where he is, their lads had no choice but to try and get something on him because he knows it's a tap-in if he doesn't, and he sort of turns it home. The goal itself then allows Wednesday to calm even more because, like I said, it had been a bit of a ratty start. Wednesday playing some nice football, but not the expansive football that everybody loves to watch. Because it were tight, because Plymouth were sort of hunkered in there, it was a different type of nice football. We were having to be cute, which is something that's probably let us down in the past. We talk about Wednesday a lot. Both boxes, it's a phrase everybody's getting bored of, but mistakes at one end, and then at the other end, the final ball letting us down. Some really good final ball today in and around their box in really tight areas as well, which is where the second goal comes from. Pato does well, wins it. I mean, he's had a great game, puts himself about, but he chests it and knocks it on. And it's really tight in there, it's really congested, but Windass, lovely little ball through a tiny gap. Ingleson again, calm. It's a measured cross, low on the floor. Patterson's carried his run on from his earlier involvement. And I love this goal because it's very easy there to just either try and smash it with your near foot, which would have been his left. But he opens his body and he side foots it in. It's a really lovely finish. I can't praise it enough for that. It's a lovely finish. And fully deserved, I think, for the performance that he put in. I scored an almost identical goal to that at Grindleford once, but we'll not go on about that. I only mention it because I was talking about it yesterday. And now it's one of my favourite goals because it was so simple, just passed it in. And then I see Pato do a mirror image of it. It's not better than playing, is there? It's alright sitting here talking about football, and it's alright sitting in stands watching football or whatever, and it's alright coaching teams, isn't it? But not every place is putting your boots on, does it, and playing. Wednesday's knocking it about quite well at this stage. Like I said, it's still a bit of a ratty, scratty game, and there's lots of tackles going in both sides. And I enjoy that as well. I like seeing that side of the game. I like seeing two teams getting at it and getting a foot in and challenges and shoulders, and you see some Premier games and it's almost like that's been outlawed, but in this division you can still do that, and I like to see that, and it gets crowd going. And there's probably 5 or 6 fouls on Gassama in this 10-minute window, around second goal, and he's in one of them moods, Gassama, where things are coming off for him. We're told the week he gave a goal away with a sloppy pass, and he's going to make mistakes as a young lad, but when he's on it, when he's not making them mistakes, which he's making less and less of, such a good player at getting you up the pitch with his driving and his touch, and he can beat a man, and quite often teams double up on him. So there's all this going off, and he's getting bumped all over the place. And then, ironically, the first booking of the game, and there were a lot of bookings in this game, is Windass, and it's a note challenge, And card comes out, and Gassama's just been done about 5 or 6 times, and no. Don't make it about the referees. I'm going to have to talk about referees, actually, aren't I? Because Windass gets booked for that, which is a bit of a note. But I'm like, alright, in a way, he's probably sending a message to both teams. Alright, there's plenty of tackles gone in, lads, and now I'm going to have to start pulling you a bit. Then Beadle gets booked for time wasting, which he was doing. Although, it's literally a few seconds, But every week we see keepers taking the mick. I mean, I can't remember what match it was other month when I stopwatched it, and it was 45 seconds to take a goal kick, He gets done for that, and then of course Bannon then gets booked for applauding the referee sarcastically. And I'm like, oh, here we go. There's been all these tackles going in and that, cards are out for this, that, and other. Second half, Plymouth made a triple substitution. Obviously, their gaffer like 2-0 down. But, we're going to have to throw caution to wing. Although they bought up, is it Plegazuelo or something they call it? I thought he were quite good. I'm a bit surprised he came off. So they made a triple sub, and Wednesday made a bit of a surprising sub for me. But as I said, I'm a bloke in his kitchen, and Danny's a top manager, so what do I know? But I thought Ingleson had a terrific first half. I don't know if he was injured, maybe that's it, maybe he's got a bit of a knock. But that first half, I think that's probably the best I've seen since his debut. That was against Plymouth, I know. Has he got it in for Plymouth? It's fancy. Seems to serve his best for them, doesn't he? Terrific game, really hard working, put him centre back, put him under pressure, won loads of tackles, and then 2 assists. I am giving him an assist for first goal. I don't care what the official stats say. I thought he had a terrific half. But Paul Valentin came on for him. Little bit of a shuffle, he went to right-hand side. Gassama went out to other side to cause other full-back problems. And the second half were, the first half was scrappy in moments, but Wednesday had a lot of ball. I think it was 60-70% by end of half. Second half, scrappier even more, scrappier again. But Wednesday were prepared to get in there and do their side of it. Plymouth was scrappy on Wednesday. Were like, well, we can be scrappy, we can put a foot in there. We can niggle when we have to. And it, the second half, it didn't fizzle out. It was still 2 teams at it, but I don't think there was as much quality as there was in the first half. And from Wednesday's point of view, they didn't particularly have to be, because we got that 2-goal cushion. It was more about making sure we didn't do out daft. Plymouth had a bit of a go, but I thought Wednesday stood up to be countered. We've got our head on stuff today. We've defended free kicks and corners much better, because they've been a huge concern for us all season long. And players have took responsibility defensively, which is something I've been really pleased to see today. I mean, don't get me wrong, it weren't all perfect. There were a couple of times they've got a cross in, and then on the second ball, on the the sort of second phase, or whatever you want to call it these days, where balls popped in and somebody's been free round back stick. That's been an issue all season. But in the main, they've done really well. Heckway's got his head on stuff in there, and Lowe. They've all done a job. Iofa's come back in after a really long period out. I thought he was good. He won headers and tackles, and he also gives a bit going forward. A scrappy second half, but I thought we deserved to probably extend lead, and we did. Chalabar came on for Bannon. Understandable, obviously he's got his knee, and the points look pretty safe in the bag. Like I said, scrappy second half. Points look pretty safe, so rest him. Obviously we've got a big game coming up. A little bit surprised, perhaps, that Charles didn't come off, bearing in mind he's walking this sort of booking tightrope, and considering today's referee what an absolute card shark with, 7, 8 cards you're giving, and might have even been 9. I mean, after letting game flow for opening 10 minutes, he suddenly went, confetti time. And I thought, oh, maybe Charles will get the hook, but brought Bannon off. And looking at it, now in hindsight, fully understandable. Lad's got a knock on his knee. Some big games still to come. We could still probably do I'd say another 6 points, just to make sure we're away from that trapdoor at bottom. I know we always like to look up, but you've got to keep one eye over its shoulder, 1, 2, 3. 2 minutes after, Bannon's gone off. Brilliant goal from Wednesday. And this is what I'm on about. It was a very scrappy second half. The football in second half wasn't as good as first half, but when in the key moments, when you needed some good football, we got it. So again, it comes from a throw-in, like one of goals in first half. Ball into Windass again, and I don't think he gets enough credit for this. His cuteness around the box, which is something that the team's been accused, we haven't really had. It's a brilliant little ball. It's a brilliant little ball because he turns and it just buys that few seconds for people to move around a bit. And then he just finds a lovely ball through the gap. A lovely ball through the gap. And Gassama gets after it. And again, this is something we've talked about. It was so noticeable after about first month of the season. His strength. He's really worked on his upper body strength, Gassama. Defenders in close attendance and he just get off and drills it home for 3-0. But a lovely, cute ball from Windass, really top draw. Like I said, in these tight games, and I don't mean tight as in scoreline, because it was a comfortable game in terms of scoreline for Wednesday, but I mean tight on the pitch. There's loads of players in there and there's, you can't spread it out. That's when you need them cute little balls and that. Fantastic pass from Windass. Common sense substitution. Palmer comes on for Iofa, who, like I said, has been out a long time. He's got to be sort of eased back in. I thought he's done really well. He's come in. Thought he looked pretty sharp. He's dealt with their winger. He's still got that pace. Chucked himself into it as well. Sometimes players been out a long time. There's a tentativeness, and they can do what I call that dangling the toe tackle, which is, more likely to get them injured than going in full-blooded. But I think it's psychological that they do that sometimes. But he's got stuck in, won headers, got forward really well from that right-back slot. And like I said, sometimes I think it's too easy on your comeback game. Adrenaline's going when you think, I can do 90. And that's when you need managers to say, done well, have a breather, don't do too much, because that's more likely when you're going to pull some or tweak some when you've been out that long. So positive common sense substitution there. Gassama, did really well at one bit down right hand side, and Valentin's put an absolutely superb ball into box. Smithies, all defenders missed it. Smithies took it down brilliantly and then swept his foot across it. And do you know what I mean? That would have been a lovely way to wrap it up. And it would have been a perfect game plan as well, wouldn't it? I'll start with Pato, roughing him up, he nicks a goal, then I bring Super Sub on and then he nets a goal and all that. That would have been dreamland. But at the beginning of that move, before Valentin put crossing, Gassama done really well, put defender on his arse, and defender got lip on. And then he's getting one of them in mush. Now you've got a referee here who he's let a lot go. Then when he does get cards out, he's chucking about like confetti. He books a goalkeeper for taking, 10 seconds. He books a player for applauding sarcastically. And then he misses one of them. I always say I'm not going to talk about them, but every week they give me something to talk about. Man, you heard a bit Mardy, him sitting at game, they're all going around shaking hands and chatting, and he won't shake Gassama's hand, would he? He won't. Bit of a Mardy arsehole. Anyway, Mardy arsehole up. 3 points for Wednesday, 3 vital points for Wednesday, takes us up to 48 points now. I think that's 9th clean sheet on the road. That's the thing that pleases me. Is that clean sheet, because defending's been such a concern. Probably going back to Bamble, even in summer, I've got concerns then, and the way we've conceded goals this season. And Plymouth, of course, have put 2 or 3 past us several times down at their place. So clean sheet down there, absolutely brilliant. Delighted with that. And is that our 8th away win at season? Done really well on the road, to say where we are as a squad and where we are as a club at minute. I think to get 8 away wins when you look at last season, I think we've done really well. So clean sheet, 48 points. I know there's some sort of game coming up on horizon, but Norwich next. Let's get that out of the way first. If we can get a point, or 3 points would be brilliant. But if we get a point there, and then we've still got games like Cardiff, Portsmouth look forward to, that should see us well over that 50. In fact, I think we'll get 60 points. We're seeing 200 lads at work every day. So overall, a terrific result for Wednesday. A good performance in both ways, both the battling sense, the defending sense, and also in the attacking play, because 3 really good goals and some really cute play to get him. Man of the match. There've been a lot of contenders for man of the match today. I think Gassama will win it because he's got 2 goals or goal and a half, however you want to look at it, and he has had a good game. Draws men to him, can take people on, creative, gets in the box. I thought Ingleson first half was fantastic. He won tackles, he won headers. Obviously, he's a real weapon with his long throw. But similar to Smith and Patterson, he's good at defending set pieces in our box as well. He's useful in there defending corners and stuff with his height and his aerial ability. And 2 terrific assists. And I am giving him an assist for that first one. I don't care what the stats say, you know. Wait, do you know what I mean? He puts the cross in, it gets tapped on by an airman. He still gets assist for me for that. He's had a really good game. Mannon's had a good game, like I said, in a different way to usual. Not his sprint ball about, you know, like prime Glenn Hoddle sort of game, but ratting, getting in, ratting. He's got through so much work today, skipper. And you've got Shea Charles, who just sort of strolls about the pitch like a colossus, even though he's only a babby. What a player he is. Obviously, Pato, big members of the Pato fan club in this house. It'd be easy for me to give it to him. But I'm actually, my man of the match, I think he's a little bit of an unsung one today. I do love having a clean sheet. I think a massive part of that was Max Lowe. I thought he was absolutely terrific today, especially considering he limped off last week and it looked like a bad injury. He's come back in today. He's not massive, but he's won loads of headers, blocks, so much better on ball than I think he gets credit for. Starts a lot of moves out from back, brings us that balance because he's got that natural left foot. But he's made so many interceptions today. I think he's had an absolutely terrific game. A lot of players have. They've all played their part in that win today. Windass, some really cute player out of there, box linking things. Like I said, Ingleson, Pato, give you that battering ram on road. But yeah, I think my man of the match would be Max Lowe. Terrific defensive display from him today. Absolutely top draw. Yep, so just looking, 48 points. Derby are in last relegation spot on 32, so, another win probably does it. Get something at Norwich. Win that little game at Hillsborough next week. And that'll definitely do it. Yeah, 60 points, I reckon.